All right, welcome back on Morning Line on this Monday, everyone. Nick Barris here. We're talking about some aid and help financially for those of you struggling to make your rent, and there's an awful lot of them here in Davidson County alone. With us this morning is Lisa McCrady. She's with the Metro Action Commission. Always good to have her on, and taking your phone calls, talking about, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts about how they can get with you, Lisa, to get the money they need to help catch up on their back rent. But we have Ann who waited through the break, so let's take her quick phone call here, and we'll go to Ann. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning.
Hi.
A phenomenon that has been very prominent in the last 10 months is the fact that landlords have started saying to their tenants, we will relieve your debt, but we are not renewing your lease, leaving the tenant to try and find affordable housing as a renter, which is not something people are able to do. So what advice do you have to the renters who are trying to find affordable housing in Davidson County, who have left their apartments or their houses that they have been renting and are now not able to find housing because they were worried about not being able to catch up their rent at the place they had previously lived?
Good question. I'm not sure if that's outside your realm, but perhaps you have some suggestions, because that may be true. Landlords then choosing not to renew certain leases for whatever the reason, and then these folks are left to find another place to live. And finding, you know, all these new ones being built, by the way, Lisa, they're nice, but they're super spendy, okay? These are expensive apartments and condos being built. So any thoughts? That's a good question, I think.
Absolutely. I think with the wealth of resources that we have in our county, Urban Housing Solution, Affordable Housing, the organization that deals with that, they are prepared, Metro Social Services, MDHA. So we have a lot of organizations that are connected to affordable housing here in our city. Contacting us, we could put you in touch with those organizations, or you can call the 311 Help Center. They have the information readily available. Nashville, and I'm a native Nashvilleian, but it didn't look like it looked when I grew up here. And so there's not as many properties as it once were, and the ones that we have are kind of spread out. But Nashville is doing a really good job in trying to impact the affordability of rent here and the availability of affordable housing here in our city. So the organizations that I mentioned, also if you have trouble finding those resources, calling our office or calling the 311 call center, we can definitely connect people, because there are various things various scenarios that are going out or that people are impacted by, and rent, and renewing leases. That is a very real scenario for some. However, what we've discovered is that many landlords really want to work with their renters, because they know everyone is impacted. And so if it was already kind of a strain before pre-pandemic, there definitely is going to be a greater impact afterwards. And so, and as we're going through it. So what we're finding is that landlords and property owners are actually very amenable to trying to help navigate through this whole system. And so seeing what she's described largely yet. And we don't anticipate that we will, just based upon the outreach that we've already done. We've already had about 3 meetings, virtual meetings with landlords. Well, we've had upwards of 70 plus people who are connected to those meetings. And so, I just can't describe it other than Nashville strong, and that people are really understanding the plight of our residents here.
All right, let's talk about some of the details on how this $20 million will go out to residents. First of all, obviously, you think this is going to help most of the low-income folks who really need help, that were hit hard by it. But as a matter of fact, I mean, it seems as though that the program actually will help some families with even higher incomes as well. I mean, I'm looking at some of the breakdown here on household size, total income, one person, $46,100. Two, the more people in the house, the more income is allowed. So it breaks down. So can you give us a scenario of how it will work out when someone makes this call, when that call line opens, and they say, look, I'm 5 months behind on my rent. My rent is $1,000 a month, which it would be a very low rent actually. And so $5,000 in the hole. How do you handle that?
So as long as the applicant, applicant must be impacted by COVID. And so it's hard to have lived through this and not be impacted.
Okay.
And it could be that one person is working, hadn't been impacted by COVID, but the person that someone in the household has, where they've either had to reduce their hours or they're drawing unemployment, different types of scenarios. And so being impacted by COVID.
That's number one. Okay.
And living in Davidson County. That's
gotcha.
The high-reaching thing. And so once we determine that you're eligible, there are documents that we would need, such as a copy of your driver's license and your lease and attestation, that word, to how COVID has impacted you. If you don't have like check stubs or a letter from your employer saying you were terminated or furloughed, or so what we're trying to do is establish the need. What I feel is very cool about this program, and we're very appreciative of Treasury, it doesn't require the applicant to have a Social Security number. And so for our residents who do not have Social Security numbers, that doesn't eliminate them from this funding as well. And so we were very, very pleased that requirement is not there. So once everything is in our portal, we have the landlord's part of it, and they'll
cooperate, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes through the approval process, and then once the award is made, it goes directly to the landlord. And so say, for instance, you're behind a full 12 months and your rent is $1,000 each month, there's no cap. So that's $12,000.
Wow.
And if you're also behind on your utility payment, NES has been very good and a very good partner in trying to keep people from being that far behind. But there could be some that are a year behind and up to a year behind in their utility payments. This program helps with that as well.
Fantastic. People have got to take advantage of this. And by the way, we should say, too, it'll get you up to current, right? But you're not giving money for future payments, meaning hopefully as we get vaccinations and we start moving beyond this pandemic, folks can get back to work and pay their own way. So it's only for what you owe.
In some instances,
would it go beyond?
In some instances, we can pay ahead.
Oh, is that right?
Correct. So if it looks like that once we get them back current, that still a scenario, particularly unemployment, we know, the Treasury knows that oftentimes will not cover all of your expenses. And so there's a caveat there that if it looks like you're going to not be able to maintain yourself, we can pay up to 3 months ahead. We also cover legal fees. So the first group, we did a phased-in approach. So the first group are currently in general sessions. They're currently facing evictions. They have a case against them. Some of their legal fees could also be covered in this program.
I think it's great. I'm glad I asked that so it can move forward as well, which is fantastic. I mean, it's just such a great program, and it affects so many folks. Just keep with us. We've got another segment with her. We're going to want to give out some information for you on how to contact and call and when. Because, this is just money waiting for you to help so many people. Let's go to the phone line again. We have Ruth. Good morning, Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Good morning.
How can we help you?
I was trying to see if I can get help with my light bill.
How far behind are you?
3 months.
3 months behind, and it's with NES?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what have they told you? Just right now, are they working with you? They haven't threatened to turn off your power, have they?
Well, I'm really late, and she just said that she would try to give me an extension, but then I would have to try to get to Metro Action.
Okay. Well, you've called the right place, so let's spell it out. This is our example. By the way, can you give me just an idea how much your monthly electric bill is, just out of curiosity?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
How much is your monthly electric bill, just out of curiosity?
Oh, it's gone. It's like it's gone up. It's like the prices have really gone up.
Right.
It's like right now it's $789.
That's how much you owe.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a chunk. So. All right, let's walk her through it. What does she need to do moving forward, Lisa? Because it sounds like she's going to qualify, provided she meets the income requirements, which I assume she will.
Absolutely. Yeah, a couple of scenarios. So
okay.
we already have that goes through what we call our LIHEAP program, so our traditional energy assistance program. And so that potentially could help her with a portion, if not all, depending on how many people live in her home and what her income burden is, that type of thing. But she would definitely be a great candidate for our HOPE program as well. And so depending on how urgent it is, such as if she's facing disconnection right now, we potentially have a program through our traditional energy assistance that will help her right now. If there is a prolonged, so say for instance, we didn't get to cover all of it in our energy assistance program, if she qualifies for HOPE, we could take care of the remaining amounts there. And so I just, as NES, I mean, I'm very happy that they did this, but they referred her to us. I encourage her to call us today. So that we can see how we can help with that bill.
Now, does she call she doesn't call the 862 rent number. Is there a different one she needs to call? Because we'll give those out at the end. What's just a Metro Action is what she should call?
The Metro Action number, so the 615-862-8860.
Yeah.
So even if she called the rent line, we have a way to get her to where she needs to be. So just call us.
Okay.
Either one of but yeah, the 615-862-8860, our main number, is where she should call.
Okay, so yeah, I hope you just heard that, Ruth. So in the situation she's in, call. That's what this whole show's about. There's $20 million there that's going to go fast because there's so many people that have need. But make that call today, okay? And I'll give the number out, but get your pen and paper again. We'll give it again at the end of the show, but it's 862-8860. Tell them, you know, you talked to Lisa, and she said to call. And
yeah, Lisa said call.
And listen, it's wonderful that there's help there. Listen, we'll take a break. I think we've got Lucy and a couple others on hold. And when we come back, we'll go through a few more of the details, because I think right there already, even if this morning, based on this program, we just help one or two people and word spreads, that's all I'm after. That's what we want to do this morning, get the word out. So we'll take a break, be back with our guest right after this.